This was the week that was. I can't blame you if you're a little overwhelmed with the pace of what's happened. Lenin said that sometimes a decade has occurred in only a week. And I think we can all feel that way, for sure. We had the near miss of ex-President Trump. We had the RNC convention, where he was anointed the imperial monarch should he ever win the election. Second in command is J.D. Vance. Doesn't have much experience, but we know where his heart lies. It lies with Peter Thiel, Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, and he's even writing a foreword for Robert's book on the Heritage Foundation Project 2025. Oh, he's ensconced all right. And so is his wife, who clerked for John Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh. Just like Alito and Thomas, following in their footsteps. He can now claim whatever he wants, but he supports J.D. Vance. No abortion under any circumstances, the rights of a Christian family, no separation of church and state. They like homeschooling, he and Trump, and I know from reading ProPublica, homeschooling has left 2 million kids without an education. Many of them are abused. Many of them just sit there and do nothing. There might be a few exceptions to the rule, but the rule is 2 million children are not getting a good education. The facts are 56% of Americans don't read above the 6th grade level. We're not teaching the STEM subjects, the science, the math, the technology, all of the programs that we need to move forward. And yet, Trump stands for isolationism, high tariffs. And what will high tariffs do to the middle class? High tariffs will make us pay more for goods and services because we do import products. And any products we import, whether it's agriculture, will cost us. And what else does Trump propose? Oh, not only does he want to make the corporate tax cuts cheaper than they already are and make them permanent at the 21%, but he'd like to reduce it down to 15 or 18%. When he does that, folks, you can probably double the $4.4 trillion it'll add to our national debt. So having Trump as a second termer would not be a win-win for our society. It would be a way back to a life we have not lived since probably the 30s. And it would give us total unaccountability at the judicial level, at the executive level, and the corporate level. And we would have the total seamless integration, just like they did in the Gilded Age, of corporations and government ruling together. Biden did the right thing by stepping down. He stepped down because there's no way he could save our democracy and campaign at the same time. It's not possible. Based on what the judiciary has done to this country, Biden needs to figure out a way how to circumvent a lot of the laws that have been passed and now are under scrutiny by an unscrupulous corporate autonomy. So, let's look at some of the things Biden's got to do. We need judicial reform. The Supreme Court, the only court in the land where people serve for life terms. Why? Breyer was naive when he thought that they would choose country and pragmatism over politics. But the 6 in the majority are political, and they are bound to the Heritage Foundation and chosen by the Federalist Society. So when you see Project 2025 and you think that Trump has no knowledge of it, think again. It's many of the people in his campaign wrote the Project 25 platforms. And J.D. Vance is now doing the introduction for Robert's book on Project 25. They're entwined. I thought it was a sad and melancholy time when Biden stepped down. I think he'd accomplished a lot. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which will help us with our schooling and with our infrastructure programs. It's up to the states to use that money effectively. He expanded CHIP for most kids so that they could be nourished. Trump's party says they like planned families. They like Christian families. But what about families that have only one child? What about prenatal care for everyone? What about reproductive care for everyone? Health care for all women? Neither the Supreme Court nor the Heritage Foundation thinks about that. Only the small nuclear Christian family. And if it were up to them, there would be no separation between church and state. Well, it's fine to continue learning your Bible, but you got to learn it alongside all of the STEM subjects. That's what's going to bring us to the 22nd century. Otherwise, there's no hope. We need to know science, math, physics, analytical thinking, technology, and we should be studying for it. And what else happened? Harris is now the heir presumptive to President Biden. She was nominated by him to take his place. Will the rank and file follow along? Looks like they are, because she's got the delegates. But like everything else in America, change is happening quickly. And we'll have to see what happens in the coming weeks to decide where are we going and what are we doing. As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot to be done to save democracy. I do think Biden has left a good legacy, but he's got more work to do. And now that the House is in recess till September 9th, I think there's a lot Biden can do, because there's lots for us to talk about. The potential for weakening the federal government is great and grave. And that's something to be addressed, along with all the other precedents that the judiciary overturned in its quest to make an imperial president. So, this is 1 week where a lot has happened, but I expect that the pace will continue. So hold on to your seats and hold on to your hats, because we don't know what comes next. But whatever it is, I got faith in the goodness of the American people.